Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, rocking some tie-dye for spring because it is getting so lovely on the West Coast. Today I wanted to chat with you about the fact that it is okay to want to live a simple and slow life, and you don't have to justify that to anyone, especially if you don't have kids. Yeah, so today I want to chat with you about something I've been pondering over the last little bit. I had like a very much like girl boss week, and I was at a conference with like the UN. I don't know, I was as confused as you are, so I was there. But jokes aside, I do love my job. But I've been pondering this idea of careers and what that means, and I know I've talked about this before on this channel. Like, I don't personally subscribe for my own life that I'm going to get fulfillment out of a career. And if you do, that's great. If you want to go and be the best thing that you can be in your chosen field and do all of that, that's awesome. But that's not something that I aspire to. I have, which is really funny, I am the child of two like extremely type A parents, and they ended up with one of the most like laid back type B kids they could possibly get, which is really funny. But my parents are lovely and support the fact that I do not girl boss that hard. But this is something I've been thinking about, and especially in spaces for child-free women, there's this expectation or this idea that you somehow have to justify what you're going to do with your life instead, right? That you are going to go out and have some sort of amazing, super high-powered career, and you're going to do all these things, or whatever that might be. And it doesn't have to be the case, right? As we talk about a lot here, we're living intentionally and we're building lives that make sense for us, and that can sometimes just be simple and slow. That I read years ago, and if I can find it again, I will link it down below, and it's linked on my blog, I think in like my first blog post where I talked about it, and the title of the article was "What if I just want a mediocre life?" And it's this idea of like, what if all I want to do with my life is read good books and spend time with my family and spend time outside and do the things that are fulfilling for my soul, but may not be sort of fulfilling in the traditional sense of a career or having the newest, fastest car or the biggest house or all of those things. And I know I discussed this a lot here about sort of rejecting these notions of outward indicators of happiness, because if there isn't intention behind that, then you're not really gonna fulfill yourself doing that, right? That's why we decide what our values are and we come to terms with what an ideal life is gonna look like for us. And I found this article so impactful. Like, I think I must have read it over 10 years ago at this point, and it's just stuck with me, this idea that it's okay to live a life that's slower than what society would tell you is good or would tell you is productive or impactful, right? And I think it's so important for especially child-free women to understand that you don't have to justify your life. You don't have to make up for the fact that you don't have children by doing something else. You can simply just exist and live a life that makes sense for you. For me, and I've talked about this before, it's investing in the other relationships in my life. And someone made a comment on my last video or one of my other videos, and they were talking about how like it is still a very traditional role that I'm filling. And it was a very interesting thing where she said that usually in a family there is someone that remains a caretaker that doesn't have their own family. And I think that's maybe the role that I am fulfilling in my family and with my friends, where I invest in those relationships and I nurture and I mentor people that are younger than me, and I spend time and build relationships with my grandparents because it's important. I want to hear their stories. I want to learn from them because they are so full of wisdom that needs to be brought further into this world and passed down longer and longer. And I had the benefit of having quite a young mother and quite young grandparents, so I'm in my 30s now and my grandparents are still alive and I still get to spend that time with them. And I have gotten to spend a great deal of time with my parents, and now as we're getting older, we have a friendship and these relationships built on mutual respect and understanding, and they're so important to me. And really investing in community, of creating a space for like-minded individuals, that is very important to me, but it isn't necessarily something that you could say is career driven or is driven by external factors. It's something that is of value to me, but might not be of value to society as a whole or to the government or capitalism or whatever you want to talk about, right? I am not out there creating new medicines or breaking glass ceilings, and that's okay. Topic of work in particular, right? I have a job that I love. I feel like it's impactful. I, work directly with communities in the province that I live in, and I'm delivering stuff to the people here that I think is important, that helps people stay safe and take care of their own communities, and that's something that I'm really passionate about. But I'm not overly interested in sort of climbing the ladder in my department or doing any of those things. Like, there's a couple of other jobs I think that over the years I would love to experience and take part of. But for me, that's not how I'm going to define myself or my value. I can enjoy my work and not have it be what defines me. And I know something that my sister said to me that I actually took as a compliment, which she's like, you don't talk about work like other adults. And I hope that I can do that for her, where we live in a society where so much of our value is placed on where we work and the title of our job and all of those things. And I think as long as you are working at a place that aligns with your values and that you are paying your bills and be able to save a little bit of money and do all those things, like, that's a lofty enough goal to have with your career. I want a job that pays my bills, lets me save a little bit of money, lets me go on an occasional vacation, and doesn't stress me out, right? Like, for me, so much of my life is designed around enjoying it because, so rebellious of me to want to enjoy my life and not be stressed out all the time, right? And I made a video about this talking about how, like, busyness is a myth and that we need to just learn to relax. And it's okay to just slow down and let go of things that are just cluttering up your schedule and your life. If they don't serve you, if they're not something you enjoy, it's okay to turn down things that you know in the long run aren't going to serve you or the kind of life that you want to lead. And this is a conversation I had with my supervisor at work, who is Gen X and very different attitude toward work, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just two very different sort of philosophies about work coming together. And we're sitting down, she's like, what is your 5-year plan? What are your career aspirations? And I was just like, I don't want to be called on a Saturday. Like, I want to get to a point in my career where I'm making enough money to live comfortably and to help the people around me when I can. And I don't want to get called on Saturdays, and I want to log off at the end of the day and not think about work again. And I don't want to be stressed out. And that's enough for me. And she was just like so confounded by this. Not in like a judgmental way. I think it was just a very different perspective that she perhaps hadn't heard before. And my mom is such a blessing with this because she is someone who is like very career driven. She's so incredibly intelligent. She's so incredibly motivated in everything she does. And she just goes all the time. And it's so fascinating when the two of us are talking about it, because, she got up to where she wanted to be, and she's got the title and the salary and all of this stuff, and she says now, she's like, I've accomplished that. And then she sat there and thought, well, what do I do now? Right? And so you have to have more in your life, and she does. She has tons of hobbies and wonderful friends and all of those things. You have to have more in your life than work, and you have to have more in your life than just things that you're supposed to be doing, and more in your life than just being busy and stressed out. We need to reevaluate what is meaningful in our lives. And I talk about this all the time on the channel. It's kind of like the whole point of it, but really just delving into what makes you feel good, what contributes to your family and to your community in the most meaningful way. And if you're doing all of those things and you're living in alignment with your own values, you don't need to justify that. You don't need to make up for the fact that you don't have kids by having a crazy high-powered career. You don't have to make up for the fact that you don't have a crazy high-powered career by overextending yourself and volunteering in too many things. Choose a few things that feel really good for you and understand that that's enough and that you're enough. All right, my dudes, that is what I have for you this week. Just a little quick one, pondering some things about meaning and all of those wonderful things that I love to talk about on here. If you like the video, please like it. It really does help me out. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I put out videos most Sundays. Let me know down in the comments how you feel about this. What motivates you? What is the main driving thing that you are working at in your life? I've also been toying around with the idea of doing vlogs again for the summer because I do enjoy them. They're super fun to make. I just don't know if anyone would be interested in that. So let me know in the comments if you would be interested in seeing them vlogs of my hikes and other fun adventures. As always, I am so grateful you are here. Thank you so much for watching this, and I will catch you in the next one.